Purdue as Mitchell looks for an answer.
Ooh, pure, nothing but net.
Garland to the basket, stole the inbound pass. He lays it in.
Basketball down there.
Very high percentage shot for him from that spot. Merrill for three. Tristan Thompson on the floor. Diaz, three. That's short. Hard rebound. Ricochets out to Merrill for three again.
For the We Like Sportz Show, tune in and see the latest the crew has to say regarding the latest sports topics nationally and locally. Make sure to check out our website as well, WeLikeSportsPC.com. Subscribe on all platforms, including podcast platforms, YouTube, TikTok, and much more. And be sure to follow us on X at We Like Sportz PC.
Started with Anderson and Ramirez.
He said, let's go, right? Yeah, I'm sure he wants the game to start, but they won't let it. And rightfully so.
And welcome to the We Like Sportz Show. I'm your host, Ed in Columbus, with my guy, CJ. CJ's in Cleveland. How's it going, my guy?
Fucking sucks, dude. It's cold as shit. It was like 60 last week. I'm freezing my ass off.
It's the first day of spring, I guess.
Tomorrow is.
Well, later on.
Tomorrow, it's my birthday. Tomorrow's my birthday, and it's the first day of spring.
Oh, okay. So you're going to be of age to go out drinking then. Is that what we're doing? Or what?
That's what we're doing.
Okay, all right.
Damn sure.
So what does a CJ birthday look like to the audience out there, if you'd care to explain?
Like a whole lot of nothing. I don't really do a lot on my birthday.
Okay, well.
Baseball. I'm going to go. I got practice at 3.
Okay. Any special hazing or any birthday kind of
No.
Do the kids know that it's your birthday?
Some of them will know. They'll know. I mean, as the day goes on, it comes out.
Are you not going to get like a special, fastball to the chin, little chin music?
I'm giving some fastballs to the chin.
Okay, well, we promised to have a fast show today, as we have a special guest on, Matt Tifft, and it's going to be, like I said, fast and furious, for lack of a better term, and we won't even get into those movies because
What do you say that? What do you mean?
I mean nothing. But before we do that, let's bring on Pittsburgh's finest fan, Peyton Vince. Peyton, how's it going, my guy?
Hey, that's me.
That would be you. Yes.
I'm shocked that CJ's showing up. He's only here
What
because
do you mean? There's no practice today. Boys volleyball going on.
Oh, well, I thought because Ed made a Fast and Furious reference, I thought that's why you
I've never seen the Fast and Furious.
Never?
Never. Not one of them.
I feel like you're full of shit.
I swear to God on my mother, I've never seen a Fast and the Furious.
I don't know what to say.
I think he's lying.
I'm not lying. I just put it on my mother.
Have you seen Star Wars? Have you seen?
No. Never seen Star Wars.
He's seen Major League. If he hasn't,
I've never seen The Godfather. I was just talking about what about this. I've never seen
Peyton, you've known him longer than I have. I mean, what?
I thought I knew him.
Yeah. Maybe it's time to reevaluate some of your choices.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as of 6:03 p.m. Tuesday, March 19th, we are looking for a new co-host on the We Like Sportz Show.
I've never seen. I know.
Okay.
You have to like the Fast and Furious. You have to like Major League. You have
I've seen
to.
Major League.
That's the only movie you've seen from the list.
I've seen all 3 of them.
All 3 Major Leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the baseball fans out there is actually Major League 3 different ones. That CJ's not bullshitting you.
He's back to the minors. Is that the third one or something?
Yeah.
Or one of them, or
that's his favorite.
Pedro and Tanaka might be the only 2. Rube's in it too. Pedro's the only guy from all 3.
Oh,
Pedro's the man.
I think Dorn might be in the 3rd one too. I don't know.
Okay. Well, like I said, we have a fun-packed filled show. CJ, so we were talking about it. We'll get into it real quick about the Cleveland Guardians and some of the moves that they're making. Your boy Kyle Manzardo. Yeah, looks like he got optioned to
minor league camp.
Yeah, minor league camp. What's your thoughts on that? Because here's my take on and Chase DeLauder is going to fall in that same category as well. I, as a fan of the Cleveland Indians / Guardians my whole life, and have gone to 3 World Series and seen them fall short every time. Pitching. That wasn't all the way in the 90s because we actually had hitters. We haven't had hitters since then, and we got this prospect, and his name is Chase DeLauder, and wow, he hits the ball really, really far, and he has a stance and a batting swing that not much herky-jerkiness, kind of just kills the ball, murders the ball.
He went from having a hitch in his swing last year in the minors to actually leveling that out now.
Yes.
Spring. And I mean, CJ and I have talked about that before. I'm pretty sure off the air, just because CJ coaches baseball, you could recognize that. I watch baseball enough. You could see it. The swing's not that fluid.
I love the swing. Even like the early ones from now, like even last year, I loved the swing. It sounds like a fucking gunshot goes off.
Yeah.
DeLauder.
Somehow he's going to be in the minors. Probably starting camp in
Double. But I'm saying, like, me and Ed were talking about it before. Like, I was more shocked that Manzardo didn't make the team than I knew he wasn't going to make the team.
Yeah,
there was zero. Like you have a billion outfielders, and Manzardo could have made the team as the DH.
My take is this, and I'm going to rant. Look, we haven't had much offense in Cleveland, and we'll get on Keith here as well. But my thing is this: we haven't had much offense in Cleveland. We've had last in the league in home runs last year, second to last the year before. You got this kid that's bombs away. And here's the thing: bring him up, and if he goes on a slump, send him down. Why not just see? Why is it automatically assumed that he needs to start here and then move up? I'm all for it if he's hitting bombs of major league pitchers in spring training. I know it's spring training and things are a little different, but the kid's got confidence right now. Bring him up, and who knows? Maybe the kid never fails. Why is it automatically assumed that, you have to always work your way up? The kid's obviously doing it, and he's doing some great things in spring. Bring him up. Bring some excitement to this clubhouse. You got a first-year manager in Stephen Vogt, and I'm all for just kind of letting it ride out. And then if he's struggling, then you send him down to AAA Columbus or AA Akron. I just don't understand the mentality of, he's going to fail. He's going to fail. Well, he hasn't yet. Thank you.
I didn't say he was going to fail.
Well, there you go. Why? So if he's hitting bombs, I mean, nobody else is really.
I mean,
over the course of the last 3 years, right? He's played in 180 minor league games in 3 years.
Okay,
he's had a foot injury that's held him back.
That's big Grady Sizemore energy, if you ask me.
How? You haven't seen enough of a sample size if that's what you want to go off.
I mean, Grady was great, but he's got to be able to be healthy. This idea that he was going to make the opening day roster is laughable. Can we at least admit that?
Well,
there's zero chance he was going to make the opening day.
It's the fact that it's service time manipulation and it's at its finest over and over again. I'm sick and tired.
It is, but it's also like a bad crowded outfield.
It's a bad outfield.
But it's a bad outfield.
Yeah.
You have Valera set down right. You're weeding out. Here's the thing. The logic of the thinking of the Guardians, and it's frustrating, and it's probably going to be the case, is that you have DeLauder that's going to be in AA in Akron. You're going to have Manzardo that's ready at minor league camp. You're going to end up having
in Columbus.
Regardless, though, you're going to have the shortstop competition since Gabriel Arias.
I don't think it's I think the other guys got it.
No, since he hit a home run yesterday, he's going to be a part of the competition. And that's good enough for the Guardians organization for them to say, you know what? You might be batting 145 right now, but you earned a spot on the opening day roster. Congratulations. You're a right fielder.
But he can also play second, third, the outfield. He's got a lot of flexibility.
Trash can. He is a trash can. He is batting 145 in spring training. Angel Martinez and Rocchio are your guys at shortstop. Okay, I'm fine.
Hedges is batting 313.
Just because you can play all over the field, if you can't hit.
Hedges is batting 313.
Keith, give us something. We're struggling here. We're yelling about Guardians.
Time out. No offense to Keith. He's a damn Yankees fan. The damn Yankees fan is going to try to calm us down. He's going to be like, we got
Well, he knows what hitters are. He actually knows what professional hitting looks like, so let's give him a shot here.
Sorry, Keith. I'm a little aggressive and a little tense right now because it's stupidity at its finest, and I'm a diehard Guardians fan, hoping that I'm the definition.
Jose's hitting a $182.
It's spring training.
So
Where
why
Jose
can you
is
use the argument against Arias but not Jose?
Arias is proving himself. Jose has a 7-year contract.
He's a 206 on base.
How's Soto doing? Is Soto looking good, Keith? How's that looking?
Of course, they show his highlights almost every time on the score. So
He's just hitting 304.
that just tells you right there. But far as the Guardians, they do it every year. Didn't they send Manzardo down? Wasn't he batting like 300?
Well, you should be more mad about. He's a viable.
Well, that's
DH.
fine. Let's yell about him then. That's fine.
Yeah.
CJ,
I mean, like the idea that DeLauder was going to make the team. I mean, he could have hit 1,000.
You see the ball, you hit the ball, and then they send you.
Listen, I'm on your side. I think he's a monster. I don't think he needs to be down, but like,
No, he doesn't.
I mean, we watch the Guardians. You know, if it looks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. You know,
And it just so happens to be an Akron rubber duck, but regardless, not the point.
Thank you.
good pun.
Well, good luck finishing past Detroit. That's all I got to say.
And the worst part is I haven't been on the show in a minute too, but my buddy from work, Brandon, that actually Ed now follows, by the way, I heard.
Yeah. Shout out, Brandon.
The thing is that we made a lunch bet, and I took the Guardians over 500.
Yeah,
He
they
takes
will
the
be.
under, and if it's 500 exactly, it's a push. But the thing is I had so much hope in spring training. The pitching rotation looks great. I'm not worried about the pitching
I think the
rotation.
pitching's
Shane
pretty
Bieber
well.
is your opening day starter. It's announced today.
Yep.
For now.
For now, he's not going to maybe finish the season out with them, like he said the last week or 2 weeks ago, I believe. And if you could get somebody else, you got a pitching factory. You got Joey Cantillo too, that's lined up in the future. Daniel Espino is not going to do anything because he's hurt and he's out for the year again. It's just, it's ridiculous. But the competition is not where the competition needs to be at. And the thing is if Stephen Kwan could be the success that is the outlier, and you could show the ability of what he has done with the organization when given an opportunity, when you're not trying to manipulate service time, let them.
They didn't have a crowded outfield when Kwan made his debut. There's a million outfilders on the team. None of them are any good besides Kwan.
You're telling me that it was smart for them to
they're paying. I didn't remember. I mean, if you were paying attention to the show, I said they should have non-tendered Lariano. It said they gave him $5 million, right? They're paying Miles Straw until 2028. Like, those guys are going to have to be out there. Lariano's making $5 million.
They're paying him
$5 million for Ramon Lariano, right? He's going to be your opening day right fielder. Right?
Okay.
Will Brennan's been up and down, but he's a guy, he's going to platoon. I mean, they brought in the dude from New York. They said he's going to make the opening day roster probably. You know, he's hitting like shit.
The Rule 5
they've been trying, not the Rule 5 guy. The Rule 5 guy's from Arizona. He's probably going to make the opening day roster. They've had Tyler Freeman in center field. So it's like you could see the writing on the wall. They've been having the Rule 5 guy in the outfield. Right? They're going to try everybody in the outfield. The water was never going to make the team. That's why I'm shocked that Manzardo didn't. I thought Manzardo should be opening day EH.
Like, you could only have so many guys, like Tyler Freeman, for example. You brought him up. He's a shortstop. He could play anywhere.
Tyler Freeman's a second baseman. They need to move Jimenez to short. He doesn't have the arm to play short.
He's going to be the next Micah Vilas is Tyler Freeman, unfortunately. And the thing is Jimenez, why move him to shortstop? He's been at second base for however long. Why change it up when he's a Gold Glove second baseman?
He'll be a Gold Glove shortstop because nobody in this team can play shortstop.
Rocchio, Martinez.
No.
Are you watching spring? Are you looking at the stats?
He's not. Defensively, can they play short?
Yes.
He cannot. If he could play short, then they wouldn't roll out Arias and Freeman there last year.
That was last year. Again, we're complaining about service time right now, and that's the main reason why you're not having Rocchio.
Board short last year because all three of them suck at short. Move Jimenez to short. You have him locked up long term on a fucking cheapest can be deal for an all-star shortstop that's got 2 Gold Gloves. The defense will translate for him. He's a great shortstop. He played shortstop with the Mets, and he played plus defense.
What are you going to do with Rocchio then?
Move to second. None of
Why?
these guys can play short, so move to second. It's easy.
Jimenez has played big league ball at second for the past however many years.
Who gives a shit? He played big league ball when he came with the Mets.
Clip it.
What does it matter? Short second. The other guys can't play short. He can play short. What are we doing?
We're going up octaves here. We're going up octaves. This is great.
Come on.
I got veins popping on my
I had to
forehead.
watch the Met Rosario boot balls at short for the last year and a half before them.
Who said it's a Browns town? Go guards.
I mean, golly.
This is what sports shows need to have. They need to have NASCAR and they need to have Guardians.
Yes.
I ain't gonna even lie. The Guardians barely make my show.
Yeah.
I don't blame you though. You're a Yankees fan. I wouldn't be talking about this dog shit team from time to time though too, because it's frustrating.
Whoa. Wow.
And when I seen that they sent Manzardo down,
I don't put any stock in offensive stats in spring. Every year we have a guy that plays out of his mind. I remember when Elliot Johnson did it. Right, every year. I mean, Austin Hedges is hitting 304. He's not going to hit. He couldn't hit 304 if his life depended on it for a month this year. He won't hit 304. Right. So let's not put too much stat. I get it. I think DeLauder's going to be a fucking monster. But the idea that like these offensive numbers are going to translate, I don't buy it at all, whatsoever. Right. But like I think Rocchio, I just think every guy we have between Rocchio, Freeman, and Rise, they're all hardcore flawed. None of them can play short. Let's just have an everyday shortstop. Let's have a revolving door at second base where we fucking twirl these guys in and out. Right.
Let's
let Jimenez play short.
You know, this was a fun spirited debate, but let's get away from the ball. Let's go to the track right now and bring on our special guest, Matt Tifft, right here. Start your engines. Let's go. What's up, my guy? How's it going, Matt?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Real good, real good. Glad to for you to join us today as we talk all sports when it comes, but NASCAR today and anything fast, and that's why we got you on, and can't wait. So, Peyton, you got some questions here for our guy?
We got plenty of questions with Matt, but as we all know, Matt's an Ohio guy. If you didn't know, do a quick search on him. Ed's done his research, but we've just been ranting about the Cleveland Guardians. Matt, before we dive into the racetrack, what are your thoughts right now about the Cleveland Guardians upcoming year before we dive into the track?
I'm a little nervous, to be honest. I think it's a good change up in Tito. Having his retirement there, I'm excited to see what happens out of him. They've had a lot of good young talent for a while, and if they can just get the bats going, I feel like we've said the same thing for 3 years in a row. Might have something there, but obviously. Pitching was good, 2021, 2022. 2023 struggled a little bit, right? So I don't know. I'm in full support of the political, the things that come out of the Dolan's just going to go buy a good hitting right fielder. I think that's fantastic. No matter where you swing politically, I think we definitely could have had some big offseason acquisitions that would have made me feel a bit better about it. But who knows? Maybe they want to go finish the stadium upgrades first, and then they go get somebody. But no matter what, I love my Cleveland Indians, and I always will. But I'm excited for it. I just moved back to Cleveland in December, so I'm excited to go catch some games again.
Awesome. You know what? It sounds like it's going to have to be a party with all of us at an Indians game at some point, and talk some racing too as well, of course. But obviously, I mean, the biggest thing is the thing that I fell in love with this past year is after watching NASCAR growing up all the time, being a big fan of Dale Earnhardt Jr. I mean, obviously, I wasn't too much alive or too much to end up remembering the days of 3 Dale Earnhardt, unfortunately. But they finally did something with NASCAR Full Speed to end up getting fans to actually care about drivers individually. And a lot of the Netflix series are doing that now with Full Swing. You end up having the F1 series. You end up having the golf series. There's so many different ways, and you're hearing and seeing all these drivers, golfers, F1 drivers that are actually having their personality. Now with NASCAR Full Speed, first off, Matt, I wanted to end up, because you and I have gone back on X, on Twitter, whatever you want to call it. We're going to say Twitter for now, because if we're calling the Indians, we're going to call Twitter.
Hit the Wayback Machine, okay.
But what were your thoughts on the NASCAR Full Speed series, Matt?
Well, I think it was great. I think just like you said, you're looking at sports finally getting to show personalities. And I think the hard part about it, and I'll kind of go into the weeds a little bit to give your listeners here and viewers some background info of what really went into making that decision. What was the feedback from the teams and the drivers there? Because it was during that time period, I was a NASCAR team owner and obviously a former driver here too. And it was interesting to watch the teams go through this because when you look at PGA, MLB, or even F1 and now NASCAR, when they're trying to get more access into the players or the drivers, it's a hard thing because they don't want to be shown because they're doing their deal. They have their regimen. They're doing everything they can do to be the best out there. So when you go, whether you just won or lost a game in the ninth inning, or you just came off of finishing, a career best third at Richmond. It really gets odd because they stick a camera in your face and you want to be excited and show emotions, but you have a PR list of things you have to do. I mean, contractually required, you have to do those things. And if you mess up, the hard part in racing right now is, money in NASCAR. If you look around a little bit with, I kind of look at it like a negotiating kind of a deal between the teams in NASCAR, much like a collective bargaining agreement in the MLB and NFL we've had in the past. And, the hard part is when you're a driver and you're banking on these sponsors to support you, you can't say the wrong thing. And it's this weird thing where you got to walk this line of, I want to say what I really want to say, but I also can't do that because I might get fired. But then you have the corporations nowadays saying, okay, we want you on Netflix. We want you doing these things, but also please don't say that on Fox. So it's this weird dynamic. And it's tough because as a driver, you're kind of stuck. And one of the funny things for me was for NASCAR Full Speed. First off, I love the fact that they finally did this. I think we've seen a 30% rise at the Atlanta race for the TV ratings, 10% up at Bristol last week. I think you saw a 40% drop in Formula One with the Drive to Survive kind of peaking out and falling down now. So I think there's always a little play you got to have going on of how good is my racing product, how good is my show. But anyways, when this whole thing was pitched to the NASCAR teams, it was not a popular idea. Now, from the idea of getting into the masses, yes. But teams have a really, really good way of kicking themselves in the foot all the time. And why I say this is because when they presented it, they want to have total control over the editorial pieces of it, of final say. And NASCAR is like, no, you don't get that. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it our way. They put something like that on USA Network the year before, and all the teams were upset because they said, hey, this is for NBC, it's for USA Network. That's great, but nobody's going to watch that. Nobody knows it happens. So Netflix said, if you're going to do this, we have to have full access to everybody we want to go put on there, but we also have full editing access to it, and we get the final say. I think because they did that, you actually saw real emotion. You actually saw the real people, and you only saw a few drivers too. There's more drivers in the field that wanted to be on there, but there's some teams and drivers that said, I really don't want to be on this because what if I, do this or do that? I think they're kicking themselves at this point because this thing is so popular. It's been viewed, I think, over 5 million times as of a couple of weeks ago. So the people who said no to it, I really challenge them. Why would you say no to an opportunity like that to get in front of every household in America that now has streaming, which is way bigger than what's on Fox?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely too. And the thing is that you're getting so much more of an opportunity that I've seen friends out of my own friend group that he was never a racing fan whatsoever. And he ended up watching NASCAR Full Speed. And now he's a Ryan Blaney fan. And after that, he's saying, because there's so many likable drivers now. You had Denny Hamlin, you had Kyle Larson, you had Ryan Blaney, you had so many different guys. He said, I can't like 12 because I like Blaney. You like Hamlin. And I never ended up having an allegiance. But after Denny Hamlin won at Bristol, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to like Hamlin. He's the John Cena of racing at that point. He's split amongst fans. And if you're going to tell me I can't root for somebody, I'm not going to root for that guy then. Even though Blaney's another Ohio guy, so be it. And I guess with that being said now, I mean, in your opinion, Matt, who are some drivers you could end up telling newer NASCAR fans to end up rooting for or at least looking out for that you believe can end up seeing a good backing from just fans that maybe they are somewhat more social or likable overall for the newer audience that they're gaining from NASCAR Full Speed.
Yeah, I mean, I think you listed the top a couple of them there. I mean, Denny Hamlin is he's the heel right now, and even The Rock was at the race a couple of weeks ago and called him out on being the heel and support of him, being the bad guy. And so I think Denny's funny right now because Denny he's actually a very likable guy, but Denny's Denny. So if you don't like his point of view, you're not going to like him. The part that's entertaining about him is for his entire career, he was the nice guy. He was trying to go win, most popular driver award. And at some point he said, screw it, I'm done with this. Like, I'm not getting most popular driver award. Chase Elliott or Dale Jr. is going to get that. I might as well be me and unapologetically me. So I think for that personality, there's Denny. I think you have the quintessential race car driver. I'm not saying NASCAR driver, but race car driver in Ryan Blaney. Good-looking dude. He performs well. Won the championship last year. Ohio guy, right? Also is now engaged to Miss Hooters. I mean, that's like if you put a race car driver in a scope of what you think they'd be doing, that's Ryan Blaney. I truly believe. And then on the other side, for the purist part, I really think that goes to Kyle Larson, probably the greatest NASCAR driver and maybe race car driver of our generation. He races 60 to 80 times a year between dirt, IndyCar, NASCAR, and wins in everything. I think he is absolutely outstanding. I think he is when you talk about Patrick Mahomes and those type of guys, and Josh Allen of the new generation of quarterbacks in the NFL, that's really where he fits in that conversation of the greats that are here right now. The fun part about this generation of drivers is you have those guys. Also, Bubba Wallace, if you saw the show, he's an extremely polarizing guy. I know a lot of people love to hate him, usually for the wrong reasons, but I can tell you, growing up racing with him, Bubba is one of the best guys in the garage area, super fun to be around. And I think that, you have so many dynamic personalities there that this show finally showed them who they really are.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, that was the best part. And in the first episode itself, they end up talking about Denny Hamlin and his podcast and Actions Detrimental. And that's a podcast I started listening to while at work now, just because it's a review of the race each week. And it gives you that quote unquote inside baseball that you're looking for that you don't usually get. I mean, Denny Hamlin's talking about, and I guess this is just the spur of the moment question, Matt, for you. But on Denny's podcast the last couple of weeks, he's been talking about letting it go, so to speak, while driving. So I guess letting it go, Matt, when you were driving, have you ever let it go? Have you ever ended up going?
Don't let go.
Have you ever let it go in your pants, man?
Yeah, that was probably the number one most common question I ever got was, did you ever have to pee when you're driving? And the answer is yes. I did not have a run-in for a long, long time. And then it happened. We're at Watkins Glen, New York. It was 2018. It was a road course. So, yes, we do turn left and right, people who don't watch NASCAR.
Okay, good.
And I overhydrated for the race, and I did not feel bonita. And I was like, gonna hold it. And then we had to, we're coming to a restart, 1 to go. So you're starting to get your belts ready to go and everything. I was like, oh no, it's happening. Please don't. Oh, there it went. And Denny mentioned something which is disgusting, but so true. It just feels so good to be done with it.
That's the thing I have to ask. That is the way he describes it is it's such a sign of relief that they ends up describing it as. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
My one buddy from work that I always end up talking with, because he's been a NASCAR fan before me. I'm like, it's funny when you listen to the podcast and he ends up mentioning how much of relieving yourself is a relief.
Yeah, it's not the best thing to be proud of, I guess. But I know there's some stories of Robbie Gordon, one of the early 2000s drivers.
Yep.
He had a catheter that he would put in, and they actually cut out a hole in the floorboard right by the firewall in his car. So you'd be sitting there going out for practice and qualifying back when we had more time, or right before the race. You just saw a little puddle coming out of the car, and that was Robbie. Hey, it's tough though, right? Because you're in the car for 3 or 4 hours, and picture, being on a road trip and you have just hydrated everything you could possibly do. Because typically in these races, It's 140 to 155 degrees inside these cars. You're boiling in there. So you think about, if you're in Ohio, you go to Cedar Point or maybe you go to Disney, and you are just sweating profusely all day in a hot, humid environment. You go to the bathroom, maybe 2-3 times over the whole course of the day. Maybe Cedar Point, you get lunch and you're like, oh, let's get dinner, I'll go to the bathroom. Well, there's 5 or 6 hours because you sweat everything out. Well, if you prep for that and all of a sudden it becomes cooler inside the car, you got a lot of fluids that should have been sweating out that are sitting there now. So it's kind of like going on a road trip and, you're just at that very, very brink of pissing yourself and you're about to find a highway exit ramp, but can't find it. You finally find that rest stop and, run in there. And you finally get it done and go back to drive and just turn on some music, crank up the AC, and it feels good.
And I mean, I guess on the next note then too is obviously like I'm an energy drink guy and workout, and caffeine's a diuretic at the end of the day. It makes you pee. Is that something that you've ever ended up experiencing or racing drivers themselves end up experiencing before a race, or is that something that it's pretty much like coffee that you just stay away before race day with an energy drink or a cup of coffee?
I think it just depends how you normally tolerate it. I don't think it's too scientific to the sport. I mean, for me, I could do coffee like on Fridays and Saturdays. Like now I can't do it, but I get too jittery. But back then I could do coffee. I would have it on Fridays and Saturdays, even when we're practicing and stuff, but you certainly knew it was going to come hit you. But come, Sunday, I think for me, I looked at as what's the best hydration tool. And typically coffee is kind of doing the opposite effect there. You want to hold in sodium. So I'd have a lot of salt before the race is in, but 3 or 4 days leading up to it. Pedialytes, nowadays, liquid IVs, Element, sticks, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think guys typically shy away from it a little bit, but I had in the car halfway through a race to get a little stick called Zip Fizz, and it's a big like nutrient stick, lots of salt, but also had 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. So when I was kind of wore down, it pepped me back up for the second half of the race.
Okay.
Now I got a question for you, Matt. Now this is more. Now we talked about the driver and what you experience on race day and everything, but I want to go to more of like the ownership and the more socio-economical kind of question. So follow me here because I got this premise. So is NASCAR like just like all sports, it has its ups and downs. It was really really big in early 2000s, and then as it tried to transforms and and everything. But now you got this thing, and just like with music in the 1950s, had this thing called the British Invasion with the Beatles and everything. Is Formula One kind of looked upon as that empire over in Europe? And now I know with the Las Vegas race and everything, and they're trying to make inroads in the United States. And I look at NASCAR and these other circuits and having shows on Netflix and humanizing, I think, race car drivers. Look, I'm an America first guy. Look, I was born. I love America. Just like, it's very popular for people over here. Like, I live in Columbus. We have the Columbus Crew, MLS Cup champions. Be proud, Ohio. We got best soccer team in America. It's Columbus Crew. But a lot of people, that's not real soccer unless it's, some English Premier League and everything. And I just feel like it's the in thing to do to go like something across the pond. But we got great racing in America. And like, for me, I would rather sport NASCAR with my American values and everything. And then these Formula One guys come over here with their accents, and that's fine. But I'm an American. Give me a Southern accent. Give me, what I'm saying? I don't know. I just think there's something about America. And I look at NASCAR and the values that, the race car drivers have and everything. And I don't know, that's me. And I just wish more people would embrace that. I'm glad NASCAR is humanizing the racers. So people, because, if you know the racers, you're going to fall in love with that sport more. And I just feel like that evil empire of Formula One coming over here. Look, it's fine to have a couple races, but give me Bristol, give me Talladega, give me Daytona, give me NASCAR. But what are your thoughts about that and what NASCAR is doing to try to kind of prevent that from taking over?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting topic of conversation in all motorsports right now, because maybe a year or two ago, I would have agreed that the F1 is the empire taking over. Well, that's kind of going away now. The reason being is because Max Verstappen is killing everybody, and really Red Bull in general. Then you have Ferrari finishing third. It's the same podium every week, same qualifying every week, same winner every week. And people hate that, right? I mean, you don't want to go watch the same winner every single week. And, years before then, this isn't new, by the way, for F1. Lewis Hamilton before that, Michael Schumacher way back in the day. I mean, these are very, very consistent traits of Formula One. I'll be honest, people got very, very fortunate in the fact that Drive to Survive came out in 2021 and one of the hottest championship battles we've ever seen in Formula One. That is an anomaly. This is the norm here we're experiencing in 2024, 2023. So when you look at the numbers for them, I think the first race they had was down 22%. The last race they had was down 40% in America. Those are big drops. Those are not minute. Those are big drops. Now, NASCAR, I think, is always going to be here. I don't think it's going to ever be the 2000s glory that you have in your picture of Bristol in the grandstands here. But, I think you look at a lot of sports right now, and you look at baseball in the 1990s. They had their golden age. NASCAR had their golden age back then. As a society, I think we've moved on from the big events and giant promoters for them. But also don't forget from the socioeconomical side of it, when you had Lowe's and Home Depot, they were pumping out tickets. They had cars in every single shop you went into. Miller Lite had displays at every bar you went to. And everything now is left from the 2000s, which is great. It's cool. It's nostalgia, but it's not happening again at nearly the rate. Now, Walmart, you'll see some stuff in there that's still going on. But the point I'm making is you're always going to have your Bristols, your Talladegas, your Daytona 500s, even shoot IndyCar. They don't pull any numbers except for the Indy 500. So, you're going to have your staple events no matter what. The question becomes, can you grow that audience from 18 to 44? Because we know that the large demographic that was 30 years old 20 years ago is now 50, 55 and growing, and their dads watch NASCAR and their grandparents watch NASCAR, and that was the heyday. So how do you track the next generation? And I think they're addressing that with things like Netflix.
Yep.
I love that they did it. I think they're 2 years behind on doing it. So it's going to be, how can you go step up into the next thing? I've seen they're looking at some tool to go bring fans in to the cars themselves. Like the app can go into the car, but they're developing something to be, they're calling the 41st driver in the field. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's going to be I know it's VR. But if you can get ahead, Gary Vaynerchuk always talks about if you can go get ahead of the Web 3.0 or whatever that is coming next. If they hit on that, this is an exciting sport that has entertainment. It has good racing. It has good value to it. But, will it ever be the same as the international flair? Probably not. But wait, hold on. Daniel Suarez, he's a Mexican driver in there. You have, girls coming into the sport now. You have Bubba Wallace being an African-American driver winning the sport, Raja Karuth in there. You have other drivers of international descent in there. You have all kinds of people that are now coming into it, where you look at NASCAR Drive for Diversity. All of a sudden you look down the starting grid, you got a lot of good looking guys. You got some foreign people in there. You got some culture in there. It's changed a lot from 15 and 20 years ago from these initiatives. And truly, to me, I don't care who's in the car. Just let it be the best driver, but let everyone have the opportunity to get
right.
That. Right. And now you look at iRacing, simulator racing, all those things are giving that first gateway, that barrier of entry to get into the sport. So now anybody can go drive a race car, and you can go get found from any of these people, much like the Gran Turismo movie. And that's happened in real life. Raja Karuth was an iRacing driver from Washington, D.C. William Byron almost won the championship last year driving Jeff Gordon's old 24 because he started on iRacing. So there's finally a way where people said, well, you can't just go drive a car in your backyard. No, you can't. You can buy a computer and go download the software, and now you can do it. And I think that's become really cool for people to go join. And I think that's big not only for NASCAR, but for all motorsports going forwards.
Love that answer. We have a comment from Adam right here, and basically he wants to know what else can NASCAR do to be better. Netflix series helped a lot. What else can they do? Tracks, drivers, and sponsors. By the way, what a crazy race Bristol was. That was one of the best short track races I've ever seen. The tire fall off was insane. What's your thoughts about the tire thing that happened the other day?
And Adam is also an avid iRacing guy too. He's the one that I know for a fact that I've been over his house before. He is a big iRacing guy, and the intensity, ironically enough, as you mentioned it's not just a game and it's not just racing. iRacing is literally a whole nother level that you're getting people heated and you're pissing somebody off if you're wrecking.
Yes. Oh, it's 100% like, full intramural football leagues or whatever. Like you're in it, there's legit leagues and money races for it too. But no, it's a great question. So starting off with the tire fall off, I thought it was fantastic. Now, it was probably a little bit too much, but the reason I thought it was fantastic is because we've been asking Goodyear to bring a tire that was soft enough to wear. It was actually the same tire that they brought in the fall of last year, which is a great race, but they changed the PJ1 on the track, which is like a sticky composition of material. It's like what they use to launch drag racing cars
Okay.
at the strips there. They change it with a resin, so it's a little bit different material, but it stuck very well to the cars. But because of it, it actually was tearing apart the tires because they're so soft, they're just shredding them. Now, NASCAR tires, for people who don't know, there's no tread on there. It's just it's a slick tire. It's like a bald tire. It lasts about 45 minutes. It's very, very soft. So, after a while, it goes away. But it went away so quickly that drivers were having to manage their cars and manage the speed that they're going, because if they went too quick, they were burning the tires off way too fast. So they added a dynamic that we've not seen in maybe 10, 15, 20 years, which was back in the day, you had to save your tires. Nowadays, NASCAR, Formula One, you're all out qualifying laps, every single lap you got, everything you got inside of you, and just putting it on the edge. Well, this was a throwback race where you had to save your stuff. There was comers and goers. Now, people are saying, "Oh, it's a disaster. It's a shit show, whatever." But when teams come back in the fall, if they keep that same tire, all they'll do is make their cars to where they're not as aggressive on the tires. They're not going to burn through them as quick. That's a product of the teams being too aggressive on the tires, but they didn't know that going into the weekend. That's not what they thought would happen. But anyways, that's what made it fun, because there was short track racing that had big fall off. They had comers and goers. There's wrecks going on because of that happening. And to answer the first part of Adam's question, what can we do to make it better? More of that. Yes. It was one of the most fun races to watch. I wish it was 400 laps. I know it played out great at 500 laps because of how things fell apart at the end and people trying to hold on. I would love for it to be echoing what Martinsville did, which was put 400 laps in the spring, 500 in the fall, to give a little bit of a difference there, give a bit more of a sense of urgency. I thought it was a great race, but even I found myself going, okay, it's lap 350. I'm going to go make some dinner and come back down now. So they could speed that up a little bit. Otherwise, I think the super speedway racing, they got to fix their fuel mileage stuff a little bit to where they're not all, kind of putting around. But Atlanta, probably one of the best races I've seen since 2004. I'd say Bristol, same thing. So we're seeing a lot of really good racing. Phoenix, snooze fest. So there's tracks like Phoenix that's going to be similar to New Hampshire and maybe St. Louis. They're going to struggle a lot with the short track package. I hope they get it better still, but they've got to figure out a different tire combination that works for everybody. Again, Bristol being a very good direction, maybe just a bit too much. Also, you'll see it anywhere in the news at NASCAR right now. Give the horsepower back to these drivers. They have 670 horsepower right now. Back in the day, you were 900, 950. My dirt late model that I had a couple days ago on the track had about 900 horsepower. The drivers can handle it. The teams know how to handle it. I don't know what the holdback is there, but give the drivers some horsepower to where they have to put it in their hands, and then you'll see great racing because people can pass. They can push the issue. Right now, it's a bit too much air blocking and high grip racing to where you're just kind of using the air to block others. It's always going to happen, but more power, you can go plan that, how much you use early in the run, late in the run, and find a way to strategically get around.
Awesome. Matt, another question too, just because – again, NASCAR Full Speed, they're talking about the race to the championship, and you don't really hear this question too often or even a thought for a non-racing fan, but there is an off-season, even if it is a couple months. It's not the longest off-season, but what do you end up as a driver? How do you improve in the off-season if you don't win the championship? Like, for example, like Denny Hamlin, the story behind him wanting and pursuing a championship and his dad to smoke a cigar with Michael Jordan and the 2311 ownership. What do you do for that off-season to improve to get there? Because you could obviously improve your car, but as a driver, what would you?
What are you doing? Is it a mental thing? Is it some physical stuff? What's going on here?
Yeah, I think it depends on where you're at in your career. I've been in 2 postseason runs in 2017 and 2018 in the Xfinity series, so kind of like the college football series that we have, and it's like the Saturday races. But yeah, it's a hard question. It depends on what went on in your season, because you could have been lights out and you have a right front tire blow, and that was the end of your year. You could have it to where you run flawless races and you have a bad pit stop. Okay, maybe let's go look at your pit stops there. I think no matter what, just like any great teams in the NFL, if you have a very solid team, you have a very talented quarterback, or in this case, a driver, you're going to find your way back there. But then it becomes, what little things did we do wrong? Was it strategy? Did we peak too early? Did we get momentum not on our side? Should we have played this strategy different? Were we too aggressive? So you kind of work on those scenarios. But, I also think you look at minimizing mistakes is always number one. So if you were like, man, we're in the playoffs, we got to go get the champion, got to do this, got to do that, and you overstep, maybe you sped on pit road. I think it's typically very, very selfish penalties, kind of reckless penalties that are completely unnecessary. Again, liking each other sports, that'd be the same as a false start, that gives a first down or PI.
Yep.
Those kind of things in racing can really take yourself out of a championship. When you look at the guys who win championships, Ryan Blaney, he was not flawless, but he was consistent. Back in the, I keep on saying this because it just seems like we're trending back this ways. Back in the day, you had to be consistent. You couldn't mess up that much. Maybe you got one mulligan, and that was it. But you just got to put races together. And I think as a driver, sometimes it's, can I be better from a strength perspective? Can it be from a mental perspective? Is it preparation? Is it tape? Is it simulation work with the team? It really just depends on that driver. But typically, you're doing all that, and you go back and circle, man, there's that one restart. We should have gone to the outside, and I should have done this. And you have that in your notebook for the next year when you get in that spot again, and hope you're able to capitalize on it.
Definitely makes sense. I mean, the thing is that a lot of the non-racers, and even I would say up until NASCAR Full Speed, you don't really realize that you end up having so many different contraptions that you end up using in the off season, and your fidget toys, I guess you could say, that you end up using just for your motor skills too. And I guess, a next question to end up enlightening a lot of people that are non-racing fans, why do you end up personally thinking that so many sports fans are critical of the sport of NASCAR or even just motorsports in general?
In what way do you mean? Because there's a million different ways here.
I guess just more so from the viewership aspect and not being able to at least obviously they divvied it up with the stage perspective over time, and it's been somewhat more compelling, but more so that I guess you could say the negativity from the average baseball, football, basketball guy that's watching those sports and wouldn't want to end up taking 3 to 4 hours on a Sunday, even when there's no sports on TV, to watch a NASCAR race.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I think to me, the biggest hurdle is what we talked about a few minutes ago, being the barrier to entry. So when you go to a race, you're typically hooked. The sights, the sounds, the speed, everything like that sucks you into it. I think a lot of people cannot understand what's going on from a TV perspective. I know going to a race and watching a race are two totally different things. They're nothing similar at all. But also, not growing up around it. So if you have no idea what's going on, I always say one of the hardest parts about NASCAR is when you go to a race, if you don't have anybody to cheer for, you're not going to have a good time. So if you go to and you go pick out, hey, I like Chase Elliott's car because I like blue. Guess what? When I was a kid, I liked flames, and I thought Jeff Gordon's car looked cool, so I became a lifelong Jeff Gordon fan. That's literally nice. So that worked well. And it's just those little things of finding your horse in there. I don't think a lot of people, when you talk to, people who watch football, they might be like, oh, well, my girlfriend doesn't like it, my buddy doesn't like it. Well, they don't have a team they're pulling for. So, Super Bowls, what's fun about it is you kind of pick your horse in there, and then you start rooting for it. So I think that's number one, is you got to have a horse to root for. And then once you dive in, you really find out all these intricacies about it. But I think from the mass media perspective, it's hard to understand because people get going to shoot a hoop, right? They can understand dunking is hard. They can understand three-point is hard. They understand that Myles Garrett are insane athletes. They're nuts. But when you look at NASCAR, people go, oh, well, I can floor it and go 140 down the highway. How hard is that? And it's that disconnect when you don't know what's happening on the racetrack. Try 2 laps on a simulator, and you'll have respect of what these drivers do. So I think that's a big part of it, is just being, do a TikTok search of what goes on in a race. See what happens there. Just the basic steps of it. If you show 5% interest, you'll find out more about it. See, personally, I don't like soccer. I don't. I respect it. I respect all sports. I'm watching it myself. But I went to a Charlotte FC game a couple years ago, and I thought it was great because, we got to see everything going on at the game. I got into it. I love hockey. I don't watch a single game of hockey. I do not watch it, but I love going to NHL games. I love going to AHL games because I think hockey is awesome in person. Yeah. But it's not going to make me a fan of it. I think a lot of people have just never been exposed to it because once you are, 200 miles an hour is a football field every second. These guys are insane. We're all certified lunatics. We got something here. And, we're not afraid of crashing and flipping over and catching on fire. That takes a special kind of idiot that's paid, pretty well for it.
But I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's everybody being, I guess, adrenaline junkies. At the end of the day, it's like riding the roller coaster or the Top Thrill dragster, what it was around at Cedar Point, for example. I'd assume.
Yeah, and I think people have similar. I think people have similar views on golf. Golf and soccer are probably the most comparable on there to the hate to it a little bit, because if you know somebody that's a soccer player, you know how hard they work. I think golf players, you might say, oh, well, golf's not a sport. People say that about baseball too, right? Because like, oh, sitting around eating sunflower seeds or whatever. I think people are uncomfortable with what they don't know. And if they don't experience something, how are you supposed to, relate with it? You're not going to say, oh, I'm a ex fan of whoever fan of this sport when you know nothing about it. You're not going to lie about it. So I think it becomes easy to be defensive and be pissed off about it.
I got a question.
Yep, go ahead, Keith.
First off, I want to know, I'm not really a normal NASCAR fan, I'm going to be honest. But do you ever think, will Cleveland ever get another race?
Ooh.
I love that question. Gosh, I hope so. So for those of you who don't know, NASCAR used to have the kart race, Indy Racing League kart.
Lakefront Airport.
Yeah, and they had this weird split of the kart and Indy series back then. Yeah. But the Burke Lakefront Airport had the Grand Prix every summer. And I was watching back some video of this a couple weeks ago, actually, because Cleveland, this Cleveland Artwork, they came out with a shirt for the Cleveland Grand Prix. So I went on a YouTube rabbit hole there. But, I think for a place like Cleveland to get another track would be tough. In the city, I think you've seen it come to our area, being at Mid-Ohio. The Xfinity and Truck Series and ARCA has come there. So they're within an hour of us. But to get a downtown race at Burke Lakefront Airport, the reason they stopped going is because of how rough it was, how much it was tearing up the cars. In my opinion, they should bulldoze the entire thing and build lakefront properties and make it fun, entertaining things for us. But because I don't see what we did with the airport. But if they're going to close it for a year, heck yeah, let's go get some cars lined up there. Yeah. But, if they did come back with some racing league there, it definitely wouldn't be open wheel. It'd be more in stock car wheelhouse for it. So I think it lines up well for NASCAR. I do know that they've looked at that market before, but I don't think it's ever gone more than just a glance on there. IndyCar goes to Detroit for Belle Isle. I think they're there last year, this past season. So it's around us. I think typically when it comes to city racing and street racing, F1 has done a good job about it. NASCAR went to Chicago downtown last year, which is a really cool event. If it would come back to Cleveland, it would have to go into the inner city of it, or into downtown of it. And typically it takes a lot of work with taxpayer dollars, with the city coming for tourism, who's going to pay for what. And I think at this point, until they figure out what's going on with the Browns, with the Guardians, and all their renovations and what's going on there, we're probably at least 10 years from ever seeing if that's a possibility. However, Mayor Bibb, if you're watching this and you want somebody to go test NASCAR down Burke Lakefront Airport, I'm right here. I can send you my number.
And I mean, honestly, go ahead, Keith.
I'm just up here looking at information. I was like, wow, I can't believe that it's been really 17 years since the last Grand Prix race in 2007. I'm like,
yeah, it's been a long time.
Nice to be something to look forward to.
Wasn't it like July or something? I believe.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was a big marquee race, and I think when you look at contracts for racetracks, they were very set for about 10-year periods over the last couple decades. But now it's kind of opening up. So Portland just got a race kind of out of nowhere. And, you saw Chicago got one. Shoot, LA, they're racing inside of a football stadium. Now it's going to go to the Dodgers.
Coliseum, yep.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's just a proposed thing. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But I think you see the opportunity for them to go to street races. And I think Cleveland becomes a market on that because it's kind of untapped. And they have a following that would probably come up here because of the IndyCar fan base here. So I think it's a possibility. But the city leaders and the sanction bodies would really have to marry up in the perfect circumstance to make that happen. But gosh, that would be cool. I would love that.
Definitely.
That actually was going to be my next question too, is as you ended up mentioning, they ended up having that race at the Coliseum. Do you think, even if I think it would be the only place could be down at the lakefront for Cleveland Browns Stadium, do you think that'd be a benefit to Cleveland, or would that be more so a benefit if they ended up moving the stadium, if that was something that were to happen to end up moving it towards Burke?
Are you saying for the race or the Browns?
For the race.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it could be. I think it'd be a great benefit for Cleveland, for tourism, and for different people coming in. I mean, one of the big things that attracts is people that come from out of state into the area. So I think you would have a Browns-like draw when you have fans come in. I mean, typically these races have about 50 to 70,000 people come in. So you're talking about a football, typical football crowd coming in for a weekend. So one more date in there, maybe that helps. If you put supporting series like the Xfinity Series and Truck Series for a 3 or 4 day weekend, usually you'll see 100 to 120,000 people come in, just depending on how they set up the event. So it certainly can be a tool for the economy, but it always comes back to, the thing that drives the world, and that's money. How much would Cleveland benefit from that? I think when you look at conventions and political things that have come here and, the playoffs coming here, you always see what kind of an economic impact that has. So it would really have to be, a perfect scenario. I don't think that NASCAR would be interested in putting it at anywhere that's not downtown, whether that means the airport, they go on 480 and turn around, or, something like that. I have no clue. But there's certainly room to do it. It just would take a lot of creative planning.
Okay. Another question going back to Bristol too, just because after seeing and leading up to the Bristol race this past weekend, obviously a couple buddies and I started talking. We're like, you know what? We need to end up making a trip. We need to end up going to Bristol. And for the longest time, there's a good portion that Bristol was just the night race in the fall for the last couple of years. In your opinion, Matt, what makes the night race so exciting? Is it the fans, more excitement from them? Is it more exciting for the fans, or is it more exciting for the drivers itself, or like maybe a little bit of a mix of both overall? Just because those night races, I just feel like I've never experienced one, but I feel like it's a whole other element to end up going into when it comes to night racing.
Yeah, the Bristol night race is something special, man. I mean, for the drivers, the Daytona 500, we get 100 to 150,000 people there for the sellout crowd at the Daytona 500, and that's amazing. I mean, it's incredible. But Bristol is nuts because you have a half-mile track, which is, you think of a high school track and field, it's only double that size, and then they put 100,000 people on top of you. The atmosphere there, when you're going around they put you in the back of a pickup truck for driver introductions, and you wave to everybody, and you got people screaming obscenities at you or cheering you on. They're right here, like they're right in your face, which is so fun. And then the driver intros there, like the walkouts, you pick your own music. So for the drivers, it's a lot of fun. For the fans, I think the fireworks there, the spectacles, the fireworks are the personalities, because that track is just so tight. You get so pissed off there. I think if you put, you put a list of drivers wanting to go win Bristol and where that would stack up of their wish list of races to go, their bucket list, I think it's always in the top 5. I mean, just the great moments between Jeff Gordon, the Rusty Wallace, and Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip. Just the NASCAR greats have won the Bristol night race. I know it's not technically one of the crown jewel races, but I think we all think of it as one of those crown jewel races because it's amazing. This place it's near Johnson City, but you come through the mountains off the highway, and it's just this massive Roman Coliseum looking thing. And you walk in, the top of the track to the bottom is a 3-story drop. You can hardly walk on it. It's something special. And there's not many venues in the world that are like Bristol. So it's always a bucket list item for fans, for drivers, and fun to watch too.
I got another question.
Yeah.
What actually got you interested in the NASCAR and car racing?
Yeah, why are you a lunatic? What made you become
and who, growing up, were some of the racers that you followed?
Yeah. So I grew up in Hinckley, so just south of Cleveland.
The Buzzards yes. of Hinckley.
Yeah, Buzzards Day this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up going to Michigan. My dad and his family was from Michigan. And when he was a kid, he grew up going to local dirt tracks and stuff. Just kind of local things to go have fun as a high schooler. And so he and a buddy, they got together in 2001 and started doing a team deal where my dad owned the motors and parts of the car and stuff. So he was kind of a team owner with it. And my birthday is in the middle of the summer. So every summer we go up to go see grandma and have my birthday, and then we get to go to the racetrack. So it was a win-win for me because I just love going with my dad, of course, to things. Typical thing, take your kid to baseball, which we did that too, but racing was always the one that stuck. And so I just got absolutely intoxicated by the sights and the sounds and the smells and the speed and just the power of the cars and the wrecks and everything was just so amazing to me as a kid. I've been told I was one of those kids that all I did was recite NASCAR driver names and facts, and you just like religiously did that all the time. When I came home from school, I would just go home and play NASCAR race in 2003, which was like the very, very OG early version of iRacing. And that's what I did. I just wanted to be a race car driver. And like I said earlier, I love Jeff Gordon. Mark Martin was another one of my
favorites too. Mark Martin,
yes.
underrated.
Yeah, great guy, great driver. Another Bristol great. And so, I just kind of grew up in this idolization of these people and watching my dad in his car and looking back at my dad's old pictures. And the way I got started into it was I was just pressing my parents like, come on, there's got to be something around here. Got to be something around here. Like, get me in the car. And so I was, no, look at this when we're older, whatever. My dad, we got him a Father's Day present at the Nashville Super Speedway. It's the Jeff Gordon Racing School. Now it's like the Richard Petty driving school, but you can go do it any track. You can go in and drive a NASCAR at about 3/4 speed. But you can also do a ride along. So I went in the passenger seat, which is not normally done because you typically have nothing over there, but they put a seat in there. And so I got to ride along in a NASCAR. And after that, I was like, I just loved it, fell in love with it completely, and found that the Barberton Speedway in Norton, they had an open trial day for go-karts. And I found it. My parents said, okay, we'll go down there and try it. So my brother and I went down there, and I got done. And they said, Matt, this was the best trial we've ever seen. Like, you seriously need to look at this. And my mom made me write a business proposal of why it'd be a good idea for me to go racing. And I submitted it. I didn't hear back for months. And we're at Cedar Point, and my parents handed me an envelope, and it was a picture of a go-kart, and said, we're going racing.
Wow.
Dude, I just got chills, honestly, just listening to that. That's an awesome story. Like, I just lived vicariously through you from just that moment of just imagining how you could probably feel when you ended up finding out in that moment, just because it's the boyhood dream that people always have, that boyhood dream that you want to have come true, and you finally got to accomplish it. And it's probably something you never thought you'd end up expecting, and it was a happy accident by the sounds of it. No pun intended for accidents in racing.
right.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. I never had a plan B. That was always plan A. I was going to make it happen somehow, and whether it be from just driving and obviously the support of my parents and moving across the country down to Charlotte to try and go for the dream down there. Nashville is for country singers as Charlotte is NASCAR drivers. Got the shots in there, learned a lot about sponsorship and how that world works, and was fortunate enough to become the youngest NASCAR Cup team owner in recent history. And sold the team and now back into racing after a few years, and actually racing a lot around Ohio here. So that's been pretty cool. PB Blaster, these guys are in Valley View, big supporters of mine for years now, but full-time for me this year. And it's just super cool to have the support and now getting back into the seat after years of ownership and some medical battles and stuff to go back in, be doing some dirt racing, sports car racing across the area. And with a glimmer of the light of years down the road, getting back into NASCAR is the goal.
And honestly, you bring up Valley View too. I'm a Cuyahoga Heights graduate at the end of the day too, which is one of the three communities that are really small in Brooklyn Heights, Cuyahoga Heights, Valley View itself. And when in this area of Ohio is your next upcoming races? So if anybody wants to end up checking you out, Matt, where could they end up checking you out at the track?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if my screen disappeared, but I'm pulling up my schedule as we're speaking. So I will post this over the next week here when we finalize it, but we're going to be quite a bit around here. Let's see. Well, I'll find the correct page, but we're going to be at we'll be over at Attica. We'll go to Wayne County. We will probably go to let's see. Okay, I found it now. Atomic Speedway. We'll go there May 11th. We will be Mid-Ohio. We'll be racing there with the Trans Am race June 20th through 23rd weekend. Oh, nice. We'll be at Oakshade July 13th, Wayne County July 14th, Wayne County again August 10th. And so we'll be bouncing around here and there between most of those tracks and maybe Zanesville as well. So probably 8 or 9 stops in the local area here.
Awesome.
I got another question. Give me your top 5 raceways or races.
Ooh. Okay. I'm going to go race.
You don't have to go in any
tracks
particular order, just the top 5.
Yeah. No, so for racetracks, my number one is Road America in Wisconsin. That's my absolute favorite one. Fantastic road course, just proper road course. It's it's 4 or so miles long, almost 5 miles long. You feel like you're driving through the countryside, and then you go out into the forest and come back. It's nuts. I've had really good results there, so that helps too. I think I'm not blowing smoke anyone's butt here from being from Ohio, but I really like Mid-Ohio. That's definitely my top 5 because it's a really technical track, very wore out. I think they're repaving it now, but very, very technical. You have to finesse the car quite a bit. You got to throw it over curbs, very hard to pass. So a very challenging course as a driver. On the oval side, I've always really enjoyed Martinsville, even though I've had some interesting career things happen there. That's where I get my start and end in my NASCAR career. So I've always liked Martinsville, always been looking for that grandfather clock. So hopefully one day I'll have it.
It's where you paused your career. You said you might be back. It's where you paused your career. Maybe not.
Yes, I have to change that now that I'm back. Yeah. You're right. Thank you. I like that. Daytona, it's just special. You walk in there and it's like Disney World. I mean, everything is just to the nines. It's just beautiful facility. You know, when you walk into Daytona, you're going to get goosebumps. It never fails. I've been there 20, 30 times, and every time you're like, dang. It's that Lambo kind of feel to it, just with the history and what's happened in the sport there. And then I've always really liked Dover. Dover might not be the most exciting track on the circuit, but from a driver's perspective, going into turn 1 and turn 3, you go off in the straightaway and dive into the corner, almost 3 stories. You drop into the corner. It's a lot like a roller coaster. What's crazy about Dover is, as a driver, you actually will shrink about an inch to an inch and a half from the start of the race to the end of the race, from just the G-forces on your body and shrinking your spinal cord. It's nuts. Just the load on your body is so intense at Dover.
Wow. That's pretty crazy when you end up thinking about it that way. One of the things that I was going to end up mentioning too, because I got a couple of questions from some non-racing fans, but they're also racing movie fans though. For your favorite movie, Talladega Nights or Days of Thunder, Matt?
I do like Tom Cruise, but I'm gonna say Talladega Nights just because it's so stupid that it's great.
Shake and bake, right?
My favorite part about that movie is when you look in the wreck sequences and the driving sequences. If you know what you're looking at, they're shifting into gears that don't exist. The flip sequences are starting in Rockingham, then they go to Charlotte, then they go to Talladega. I mean, they must have spent all kinds of money going to different tracks when they could have just shot it at Talladega. But I don't know why, but they just had to commit to going to 4 or 5 different location shoots to do the wreck over and over again. So if you know what you're looking at, you're just like, this is so not correct.
The continuity errors really get to you when you pay attention to it.
Oh, man. Hey, Matt. What would you be doing if you wasn't into NASCAR racing?
Because you said you didn't have a plan B, so I guess he's asking you, what would plan B be that you never had?
Right.
Plan B kind of came trial by fire after I had the seizure in Martinsville in 2019. I became a team owner. I mean, that was from some entrepreneurial planning and stuff there to be in that spot and take advantage of an opportune area there. But I really ran the business development part of our team. So all the sponsor relationships, VIP hospitality, social media marketing. So I never had a marketing degree. I never finished college, but I kind of did a crash course in it and I bought a course to go into it. So I really enjoy marketing. I enjoy looking at brand strategies. So at this point, I would say I'd love to go into marketing in sports. So if it was for the Browns, something like that, where I have a belief and I have a passion for the sports piece of it, sports admin, business marketing, I would definitely love that piece if I were to be taken away from racing completely.
Well, he keeps mentioning Browns. I can't let him get away with it. Okay, it's been 2 years since the Browns acquired Deshaun Watson. What are your takes on Deshaun Watson? And you don't have to be controversial if you don't want to be, but just what are your, I'm saying, just, yeah, okay.
I'm frustrated that I have to say that because
Yes.
So I was a Baker bro.
Okay.
I did like Baker. The reason I have not liked the Deshaun deal is because when he has played, he's actually played well. He's done a good job, and I think he's done a good job bringing back his image. Obviously it's controversial. Everything that happened is terrible, but I will say he has done a good job at giving back to Cleveland and our community. I will applaud him for that. No matter what happens in life, he's done a good job at that. So he didn't have to do that, but props to him for doing that because no matter what happened, that was horrible. It was terrible, but he has changed the lives of other people. I'm not God. I can't tell you what's right or wrong at the end of the day when we all go, and see the light, but I certainly know that he has helped people. So I'll give him that. However, I don't think that he is a franchise quarterback for the length of 4 or 5 years from now. I think Andrew Berry has done a fantastic job in restructuring contracts to give bonuses instead of having the cap hits. So, the thing that frustrated me was I really would have liked Flacco to come back, not for Flacco to be the quarterback, but to be the backup to go mentor Deshaun a little bit, work within the system. I think that would have been cool. I think that you saw a lot out of Deshaun last week when he was blocking people for saying they wanted Flacco back. So I think there's a little bit of immaturity there still, and that's frustrating. I think the rust deal has got to go away. I know we're in the rust belt, but it's got to stop at this point. Year 3 or 4 with the team, that's no longer an excuse. We're in the years of backup quarterbacks because of the extended schedules. So I really think that if you're going to be in this league and be tough in this league, there's no doubt that he's tough. But if you're going to be in it, you got to be able to grind it out and not, say, well, if a backup comes in and he did a good job, you can't go blocking people because they liked him. Guess what? You were out. He stepped in, and he was a part of the team too. I'm not going to take that away from him because he was on the sidelines. But I think that it is an interesting experiment. I hope that it doesn't bite us 5 years to come because I think they have a 3-year window to go win. If they don't get it done then, I think we're in for another decade of despair.
Hey, Matt, he blocked me. He blocked me. You know why he blocked me? Because I put up a post that put up his numbers and compared them to Johnny Manziel's, and they were kind of similar.
Oh, that was you. Yeah, because they weren't that far off. They were not that far off at all.
They weren't.
And that's what I don't get is, you got Amari Cooper, Manziel. Like, look at his starting cast back then. I wasn't a Manziel fan, but he had nobody to work with back then. And I'm sorry, he had Josh Gordon, he had some guys like that, but they were still disjointed quite a bit. They didn't have the defense they have now.
Right.
It just, when you have all the key players you have now and you have this opportunity this year, they've got to go make it at least an AFC championship run. If they do that, I won't say another thing about them. I think that'll be a successful year. Right. But I think that, he was 5-1 last year. And he has a chance to be great. I think he has a chance to go change a lot of people's minds, but you just got to go do it because at some point you gotta put up or shut up. And I think this is his year for that.
Yeah. Great answer. Like I said, I don't want to throw you under the bus or anything, but you mentioned the Browns. We got to talk Browns. I'm
Browns. Matt. In the day, I just want to see them win.
Hey, Matt, you said a 3-year window. They actually got a 1-year window this year.
It's this year now.
It's actually this year.
Yep. You're right. It really is because of the contract with Chubb and Coop and everything like that. You're right. But I don't know. Hopefully they can draft well in the 3rd and 4th rounds, and whatever they got left, they can make use of it,
Yeah, they got a 2, a 3, and a 4 this year.
So, yeah, we'll see. I like the Judy move. I thought that was interesting. And then Chief is obviously popping off here lately. I love Chief. So we'll see if Joku can get a nice little extension after this, and I hope he's here in Cleveland to stay for a long time because, man, he found his stride late last year.
Yes, he did.
Cavs, we're going to make it past the first round this year, Cavs?
I feel bad because I live right across from Kobe Altman, and I shouldn't say that.
Really? Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I think they're a little too soft still.
Yeah, I agree.
They actually got another tough guy. They picked up Marcus Moore.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. They did. Yeah, that was a
huge dividends yesterday when him and Tristan Thompson came into the game. All them free rides to the hoop.
That ended quickly, right?
Ended very.
Hey, I hope that works out with Mitchell having the broken nose now too. So I hope that works out for them.
They say he's gonna miss a week. So
Yeah.
Now,
well,
you're a big Browns fan, obviously, and a big Cleveland guy. Now, with all the other racers, do they represent like their team? Like if they're from a certain city, do you know like if I said Denny Hamlin, do you know his favorite football team? Like, do you guys ever talk? I'm sure you guys are humans. You talk about other sports and stuff. Is there any friendly trash talking amongst yourselves between your teams and your city alliances and everything?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's always that stuff going on. Right now, my dirt team, my team owner is a big Steelers fan, so that hurts. But yeah, that's a bit of a mess. But yeah, I mean, Blaney's a big Guardians fan, so he's definitely got a plug in there. I don't know about the Browns. Well, actually, William Byron is a big Nick Chubb fan. I'm not sure about the Browns themselves, but I was kicking myself. We were at the Atlanta race last year, and our pit box was next to Byron's. I'm looking over, going, I know that guy, but he wasn't like facing us. He just turned around. Like, man, he looks so familiar, but I couldn't get a good view of him because of our pit crew being there. And then I see on Instagram is our 78 box in there and me on the box and Nick Chubb sitting there taking a picture. I'm like, damn it, like I got to be more. I got to have good awareness. That was not good there.
Doesn't help that he wears a helmet most of the time on the sidelines. Or
well,
else
I know what Nick Chubb looks like. You can't mistake Nick Chubb. It was just the back of his head was to my box, so I could only see the back of his head.
So you couldn't really guess that well. It's
no facial recognition.
Well, but you could tell by the stature and stuff. I was like, you idiot. You knew that was Nick Chubb. Like, is that? I don't know. Then I had to go back to look at my computer for the race stuff going on. But yeah. I mean, there's Dale Jr. is a big Commanders fan. And then let's see, Kyle Larson, Jeff Gordon are big San Francisco 49ers fans. So there's definitely some big personalities. Clint Boyer is always in the Chiefs.
He's a Swiftie. Is he a Swiftie? Is that what you're saying? He's a Swiftie?
Yeah, he's a big Swiftie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Matt, before we end up letting you go, too, obviously, because you ended up bringing it up that you're back in Ohio.
Yes.
How does it feel being back home, man? Everybody ends up coming back home. LeBron did it. You did it now. How does it feel being back?
That's a great area. We have a baby on the way, so great area for family. We have a lot of family up here still. And other than the grayest January in 70 years, it's been good. I came back in just around Christmas time, so December 20th. But no, I love it. I love the area. I love the fact that I came up here from Charlotte. I was there for 10 years, and I went to Costco the first week I was here. And one of the most interesting things to me was something not talked about, I don't feel like a lot, was the Czechoslovakian accents, and then the Russian accents, the Ukrainian accents, and then Polish, and then the Italian. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much culture. And then living in Cleveland now, you have so many different little, little suburbs and stuff. Not suburbs,
pockets
pockets. Thank you. Little pockets within the city of different food and culture and diversity, and it's amazing for that. And I find it so cool coming to Cleveland, forgetting all that, and even living in Hinckley, I never really experienced that. So now really being in the city, feeling that, experiencing that, really feeling the people, it's super cool, and excited to raise a family in an area that has so much culture, history, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, loving it.
Love to hear it, man. And of course, I have to end up posting this comment one more time. One of my buddies that's a softball umpire, Jason, says that we have to end up going to support you. And I'm pretty sure it's not just going to be Jason and I either. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of us that are going to end up coming to support you when you're racing, man. I mean, it's a pleasure that you're local, and that it's a pleasure that we're going to be able to at least watch you. And hopefully we could end up having a couple drinks or some pops after a race too. And you could end up just BSing with us afterwards. Obviously, if you have the
throw another pitch out at the Guardians game. You did that, didn't you?
Yeah. I think I'm going to be, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this yet, but the Lake County Captains, I know it's not the Guardians, but we're doing a big donkey race for the Kentucky Derby. So I'll be out there riding a donkey, apparently. So I'll be there. Never done that before. So, yeah, I would love to go do the Guardians' first pitch again. I got to work with them. I know I'll be in September. We're going to have a little autograph session with my race car outside of the Guardians fan zone there. So I will be out there. I think it's during the we haven't confirmed it yet, but I think it's during the maybe it's the Royals stand there. I'll have to look, but it's around September 18th. We'll be outside there.
Okay. Well, we definitely. I'm in Columbus, so just give me the dates. We'll come on up, and maybe we'll do a little We Like Sportz kind of thing, and have a little fun that day. Yeah.
Let me know. And I've been wanting to go to one of the hockey games down there as well. So I got to go check it out. And I'm always making a Grater's ice cream stop when I go to Columbus.
Oh, hey, yes. You got good taste. You got good taste. But Matt, I mean, like I said, we appreciate you coming on. Plug your stuff. I always say this, when anybody comes on, plug your stuff, plug your team. You got a big group that you represent. So shout them out. This is your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you want to go follow me, it's at Matt_Tifft, Tifft, two F's in there. I know it's a little confusing. So at Matt Tifft across all socials there. And then I will be racing, like we said, across all the Midwest. And then check out my sponsors, PB Blaster out of Valley View. And then, so if you have any rust on your car, make sure you check them out. They are awesome for all penetrants and lubricants there. And otherwise, Gunk, another sponsor of mine. And we will be racing dirt and sports cars across the area, and may find you at the Cavs game, Guardians game, Browns game across the year. If you see me, stop by and say hi.
Yeah.
Matt, thanks so much for stopping by today and giving us so much time. And I mean, hopefully our mission is accomplished at the end of the day, and we ended up making a couple more racing fans. If it wasn't NASCAR Full Speed, it was the We Like Sportz Show today with Matt Tifft.
He got the checkered flag. Matt, you got the checkered flag with us today.
Hey, I'll say real quick, if you're thinking of going to a race, go to the Atlanta Labor Day weekend race. That's the best race you can go to this year to buy a ticket. So, all right, here's the checkered flag. I'm out of here. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, Matt. Have a good one, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Wow. What a guest. What
a guest. What a time. What a guest.
Shut up, CJ.
I was here. I was listening. I was
just talking with racing.
Yeah. What a guy.
It was fun.
I'd taken the advice of the Motor City Madmouth or whatever. Right?
And you're ordering Matt Tift's book on Amazon?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I read the book. I got the book.
Well, like I said, I think, whether you like racing or not, you got to get behind a guy, Matt, one of our, Cleveland's finest. And he's one of us. He's a Buckeye. And
he's a Hudson hero.
Who can't get behind that, CJ? Even you, right?
Rocking right with him.
Right. Okay. All right. Well,
to quote Peyton, at the end of the day.
Hey, shut up.
Well,
speaking of which, at the end of the day, as we were doing the show in the 9th inning, you know who hit a home run to right center?
Chase DeLauder.
Chase DeLauder. You know,
and he'll be open this season in Akron.
Yeah.
Keith, you're going to be lucky. You're going to end up seeing him more times than we're going to be able to if we end up sending out.
Here's what we got to do. We
should be rooting for him. If he's ran over up with them, it would be a year sooner.
Yeah, he's going to be opening this season in Akron.
Yeah, I got
a notification.
I had to mute CJ because we ran over. Here's what we're going to do. We got to do this. We got to pay some bills. We got some breakhead news, and we got the great debate, and we're going to do that within 20 minutes. And here we go. So here's what we're going to do. Yep, we're going to go on a fun run right now, but
fun run.
You know what? He mentioned about diuretics and everything, but maybe Matt.
It doesn't give you the jitters.
NASCAR should try Dubby, because if you want an energy drink that you can mix at home that doesn't give you the jitters,
no jitters,
make you crash, then try Dubby. They have great products that have no calories, no sugar, no maltodextrin. I don't know what that is, but CJ, I'm sure he does. No fillers and no artificial colors.
You from keeping boners.
Maybe. Dubby has great flavors such as Dragonade, Galaxy Grenade, Beach and Peach, and Dove Sludge. So head on over to Dubby.gg and get 10% off your order using the coupon code We Like Sportz. Also, you want to check out the Snooze You Lose podcast with Uncle Joe, the Black Bookie, because he's got your Sunday Snooze You Lose pick of the week and everything. And he's been hot lately, really, really hot. So you want to check that out.
He's hot. He's got abs.
Dude, we were talking about the bets, man. Why'd you have to go that way? You're a strange guy, man.
Yeah, very
strange.
If
you're going to end up bringing him up, I have to end up pulling it up. The Snooze You Lose pick of the week hits once again. Because he ended up having the New Jersey Devils and the Vegas Knights. Vegas, he ended up
the Black Bookie as a hockey fan.
Honestly, though, if he's hitting it, he's hitting it, though, at the end of the day.
Hey, that black ice, don't mess with that black ice, CJ. That black ice will get you.
At the end of the day, I'm not going to mess with it.
Okay, don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. That's right. But also too, because it's that time of the year, we got March Madness coming up. So why not check out my bookie? Experience the thrill of March Madness. If you're still on the hunt for a sports book to call home, bet the nonstop action of March Madness with my bookie. Enter bracket contest.
Leave $100 on the floor.
Wrong. It's March Madness, MFer.
Thank you. Enter bracket contest for a chance to take home prizes of up to $25,000 or pick from a huge selection of straight bets, props, and odd boosts. Whatever your style, MyBookie makes it easy to play your way and get paid. Sign up now and take advantage of our generous welcome offer to score a massive first deposit bonus of up to $1,000. All you have to do is claim your promo code, and that's sports. That's sports with a Z.
With a Z, because that's how we spell it.
But the fun doesn't stop there, CJ. Get up to the minute odds, free bets, and expert predictions to help you decide who to put your money on. The best part of MyBookie, you can bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Use promo code SPORTS with a Z to secure your limited time welcome bonus today. So you want to do that as well. So we paid the bills. That's always good. And before we get into the great debate, we got to start my favorite segment because the news. This is Eddie Columbus with your We Like Sportz Breaking News.
Breaking news.
Who said Cleveland Browns starting quarterback Deshaun Watson was afraid of a former Pro Bowl Baltimore Ravens QB to be his backup? The Browns did sign Tyler Huntley.
Hey, now.
The Ohio State women's basketball team made the NCAA tournament while their male counterparts did not. That's what was the biggest difference between the two teams. Mascot Brutus Buckeye said, nuts. And finally, the biggest birthday shout out to my dad, who turned 75 years young today. He was born in Pittsburgh, but raised me a Browns fan. My father was making America great again before it needed to be great again. Thanks, Dad. I love you.
Shout out to Dad for being a Steelers fan.
And this is an
That is about your dad, though. He raised you a Browns fan. Like, Steelers won all the Super Bowls. Like, you had an excuse to be.
He raised him for disappointment. And that's the end of Ed and Columbus's break.
You
got a shot to, like, root for titles.
Yeah, 6 of them.
There you go. Got a great show. Thank you.
That's Ed's dad.
That's Dad. Right. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad. And that leads us to it's 20.
You know what? Before we even go into this,
yeah,
the great debate. I don't know what the topics are. Keith, you're the judge. It's CJ and I. I don't give a shit. Let's go.
Why can't I be the judge? Let me
no, you're not.
It's 2024 and beyond. Don't forget to tune in to.
So we're gonna have the great debate. Oh yeah,
the We Like Sportz Show presents to you the Great Debate.
That's right. It is time for the great debate. And Peyton, you said you don't know what the topics are, and you know it'd help if I would know what they are too. But sometimes I like to wing it. Sometimes I just tell myself, you know what, we're gonna figure it out as we go. But so who's going up against each other?
Chicken winging it, baby.
Peyton and Ed.
Nope, it's CJ and Peyton.
CJ and Peyton. Here's what I wanted to do.
Have? Keith is the final deciding factor. Remember what you saw earlier in the show today when CJ and I were going at each other's throats. I want CJ at WrestleMania, brother.
You're not good enough to get me at WrestleMania.
Well, this first
at the end of the day.
This first topic
at the end of the day, you can't.
Very, very personal. Now, this isn't a pro or against, but you're gonna argue your logic in how you pick your NCAA brackets. That's what you're going to do. Who wants to go first?
Me.
Okay, Peyton, you got a minute and a half. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. You got 64 teams, 68 if you count in the first 4. The worst thing is that there's some people out there in some companies, some brackets that they want you to fill out your bracket before those first 4 games are in and actually happening. How the hell am I supposed to know who's facing who when an 11 seed is facing an 11 seed, brother? I don't get it. It's so frustrating, and I hate the fact that you have that deadline sometimes. Thankfully for the one I got into, I have until Thursday. But the first 4 matchups, upsets at the end of the day, 5 versus 12 matchup. Every single year for the last 3 years, I've picked 12 over 5. And 3 out of those 4 times, 99.9% of the time at the end of the day, CJ, they win.
That Snyder math is math.
I don't know if that math right. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that math is right.
No, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I always pick 12 versus 5, and 5 does not usually end up moving on. For one, trust your nuts, like Ed has said. You had Fairleigh Dickerson beat, I think it was Purdue or whoever.
You said nuts and dick really close together.
Dickerson.
Hey now.
Hey.
But also Oral Roberts beat the 2 seed.
Whoa!
I said Fairleigh Dickerson, Oral, Roberts, all of them have upset. So if you're looking for a small Peter team to end up upsetting somebody, CJ, give them your advice, because at the end of the day, you're probably the guy that knows who the smallest Peter in the room is.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's probably
Peyton.
St. Peter's.
Wow. I would end it there.
Whoa.
That was wonderful.
Hey, now.
He mentioned Nuts, Oral, Dick,
Penises.
Peters. I mean, that was a that was a great response, and I'm speechless. I'm speechless after that.
A lot of people are at the end of the day, brother.
At the end of the
CJ,
day.
you got a minute and a half to respond to that, and
I don't even know what the question was.
how do you pick your brackets? Your logic in picking your brackets?
There is no logic. That's
3,
the best
2, 1,
logic. There is no logic. That's the best logic, right? Like Peyton just nodded off. I picked the teams that sound funny, right? I've never heard of Oral Roberts, but I picked them because they sounded cool, right? I picked teams with cool mascots or ones that I think are cool, right? Who's got a Jackrabbit mascot outside of San Diego State, right? I don't know. So I picked them, right? That's what I do. There's no logic in it.
San Diego State's the Aztecs, I think.
No, South Dakota State.
South Dakota State.
San Diego State. Wait, what did I say?
You said
San Diego State.
No, yeah,
San
I'm not
Diego
picking the
State.
Aztecs. They don't sound cool. Right? It's about picking cool mascots. It's about finding gimmicks and riding them. Right? There's no structure, right? You got to pick 12 over 5. 12's better than 5. It's higher, but it's better than 5, right? 99% hit rates, right? These are what you got to do. You got to take risks, right? The Dickinson one, I did pick that because it had Dick in it, right?
He's honest.
You know your bracket's going to get busted, so why not?
Why not bust it with Dickinson?
Yeah. Right. You're prepared for that, right? And also just pick, who's got white guys on it that might be good heels, right? You always pick against Duke eventually. They're gonna let you down, right?
What about
you pick against Gonzaga? Gonzaga's gonna let you down, right? These are the things you gotta do. History repeats itself. Funny names, cool mascots, and picking against these good schools with white guys.
What about
you pick nerdy teams, right? Yale's winning. Yale's beating whoever they're playing. You pick team. You find a play-in team that you like and you ride them out. Whoever wins their playing game, they're going to keep winning.
Wait, could I add 10 seconds
Sure.
to mine? CSU.
At this rate, add 20.
Are they in March Madness? Because I have them winning all the way, if so.
They're not in.
I don't care. I'm going to draw it in. CSU all the way throughout. I cannot. I will not be denied.
Right? No one. Don't pick 4 ones. That's a mistake. It's a lie. It's a trap. Higher number, the better the run.
16 UMBC.
Wow. I appreciate you gentlemen for both of your answers. Keith, I never know what to expect when I throw out. I would definitely say this topic and these responses have been the most in this great debate. Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. Size matters.
Unfortunately, Keith, you are going to be tasked with judging both of these performances. And I'll say this: you can either pick one now, or we can wait till the second.
I felt like that was a tie.
Or do you want to kind of
dissect what? We'll go now.
Okay, all right.
I have to give the slight edge to CJ.
I have
to get a slight edge to CJ.
It's beautiful, man.
Vince had me, but then when he brought CSU, and then I was like,
he doesn't even know who's in it.
Okay.
At the end of the day, that's my logic, though.
I like your logic.
I do have one bracket because I keep seeing TikToks about everybody wanting to be Akron and NCAA when it comes out. So I was like, all right, Akron's going to make a run for me.
Akron almost beat UCLA 2 years ago.
We're riding with Akron.
We sure did.
Yeah. They're going to do it this year against Creighton.
Plus, they got that big man, dude. That dude, MAC Player of the Year.
Yes, that dude is nice.
And Kent State should have won that game, but they're on such a Cinderella story, Akron, that Keith, I'm going to secure
Akron
my vote right now
even when
for
they
Akron
lose.
and for you to have me win the great debate.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Okay, well, that we'll go on to our second. Like I said, and I'm thinking this in my head right now because after that, I don't know where to go with this. But oh, jeez. Oh my. The Cavaliers getting Morris that's enough toughness to get them past the Knicks if they happen to play them.
I go first.
Coming back.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It is not enough toughness because you know who made the difference the other night when the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Indiana Pacers? Yeah, Marcus Morris made a three-pointer. That's cool. I'm surprised he actually made one of those. I didn't know he was even capable. For one,
a bunch of them.
I at least saw one because then I was watching Monday Night Raw because I knew that the Cavaliers don't matter without Donovan Mitchell. The plus minus, the last couple of games, it does not matter. Marcus Morris is not the toughest guy in the room. Tristan Thompson is. And if you can argue that and you can't agree with that, then tell me why he was using performance-enhancing drugs because that's how tough he is.
I know.
Hey,
He eats bolts of nails for breakfast.
Okay.
Marcus
right.
Morris Jr., Robinson the third. Who cares?
Okay.
It's just a free agent buyout. And you know the amount of times, in all seriousness, I'm a little goofy right now.
No, I love it. I love it. Keep going.
I worked out today, but who cares?
Right.
At the end of the day, shout out to DJ. At the end of the day, those buyouts don't matter because remember Andrew Bogut? He played all of 2 minutes as a buyout player, and he ended up being nothing.
I think it was like 40 seconds. I think it was actually like 40 seconds.
I was looking at my stopwatch, and I forgot to stop it, all right?
Oh, that makes sense. All right. Wow.
And
time. CJ, you're going to have to defend and say that it is enough.
Here we are. At the end of the day, Marcus Morris is an upgrade on Dean Wade, right? Dean Wade he's too good looking to be tough. Right. He looks like a male model out there. He's got the wolf hair, the good beard.
He's better looking than Sam Merrill? Is he better looking than Sam Merrill?
Yeah, he's got a beard.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Marcus Morris brings some thugness to this team, which you need, right? He's got a little thug in him. Which I like, right? Stretch four. He's a wing, right? He's gonna be able to match up against threes. He's gonna be able to match up against fours. You need Marcus Morris. I was actually excited when we got Marcus Morris. Just off the idea like having a dude off the bench that'll go out there and fight somebody, right? You need a goon. Let him be a goon, but he's out there. He had 4 threes last night, 4 or 5, plus 9 with him on the floor. Where you have 14, 15 points. Like he's a valuable guy, right? We lacked wing depth, and now we got a wing. And you can't leave him wide open like they did with Isaac Okoro. We couldn't play Isaac Okoro last year against the Knicks because they weren't even guarding. He was getting the Eric Snow treatment. Here's the other thing too. You got to remember, Peyton. At the end of the day, he's
at the end of the day.
So you could be getting
a lot of end of the days around here.
Right? You could be getting 2 of them with his brother, dressing up. He's got the same tattoos and all that crap. Yeah, but no, all jokes aside, right? You need him. You need some toughness on this team. He's going to be a big guy that'll help protect Jared Allen and help protect Donovan Mitchell. He'll switch on to little guys. He'll lay somebody out. He'll drop a shoulder in him. He's got some 90s in him, Morris. I like it. When we brought him out, I like it. I dig this. Even if he's a guy that's going to go out there and, he's going to go put somebody on their ass for 5 minutes if he just plays that, right? He'll go do that. But he can still play. Showed that last night.
Time. Perfect. Keith, great answers from both our participants. Once again, It's a tough job, and you got to be the one to judge it here.
I got to give it to CJ because Marcus Morris ain't going nowhere.
This shit is rigged.
I say that all the time. I understand it. You get these beautiful answers, and yet I get the call.
Beautiful.
Like, you know what?
And plus, I'm gonna be honest.
Better than CJ because I'm not gonna bitch about it though. Like he did for 5 minutes straight.
Because y'all are rigged.
You guys are rigging it right now. Everybody
is the only man here with integrity.
Plus, Marcus.
That may be true. That may be true.
Marcus Morris puts the ever flaming indictment on Evan Mobley. Still,
that's true.
He can't shoot.
Yeah.
Because you notice the Cavs play better with everybody else on the wing, but with Mobley's in there.
That hurts, but it's true. That hurts, but it's true.
It hurts, but it's true. It's Peyton against the world.
Somebody is feeling a little bit ostracized right now.
You should be feeling good. You got quarterbacks. You got 2 quarterbacks within a week. Yeah.
You got Justin Fields.
Changed the whole quarterback.
Yeah, you got that 07 Range Rover. And you got I don't even know what's called Justin Fields.
I just want to bring up the fact that Ed in Columbus said Justin Fields, he's gonna stay a Chicago Bear. Caleb Williams, he's gonna be drafted by the Commanders. Ed, brother, my friend, you could not have been any more wrong. Because I
like the idea of bringing Fields in for the Steelers, right?
Oh, I love it.
Scat back to work with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. I like it.
You know who's more mad about me being wrong? Caleb Williams, because he's got to go to Chicago now.
He actually DM'd our Twitter.
Yeah, he's mad at me.
And he's like, Ed in Columbus.
He blocked that.
He's not happy. He probably blocked me.
Ed's been blocked by half the starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
You know what? Who hasn't blocked me though? And
Baker.
I get accused of a lot of things of being a Baker bro, which I never was. Baker
Ed,
Mayfield
you're a
never
Baker, bro.
blocked.
You give me big Baker energy.
I never got blocked, and I mentioned Cheesecake Factory. I mentioned this. I mentioned that, and he never blocked me.
You know, you keep on mentioning it. He might get bored one day.
Baker, if you're out there, congratulations on your kid coming up, and if you ever want to go out to eat, Cheesecake Factory in Columbus is open.
What do you think about Bauer?
He's gonna go up against the Yankees. Yeah.
I watched some of the highlights for him. There's somebody to come back to. He fucking threw the ball over, he threw it underhand, turned around. He's such a little doucher. You wonder why he's not in the league.
He reminds me. Never mind.
Herman was out here fucking pounding drinks in the clubhouse before he pitched. You got Marcelo Zuna choking. You know what I mean? Guys are doing some bad shit and they're still in the league. Bauer is just so unlikable. I feel like by players. I feel like that's why he's not. I feel like no clubhouse wants him.
He's the person that baseball needs, though. Great debate. Trevor Bauer. Do you need to end up having him on your team or without your team? I'd ask the question. Let's go.
Oh, damn. Yes.
I don't think he's. How many chances is he going to get?
He's somebody polarizing. CJ, you like baseball, right? Keith, you like baseball, right?
Yeah, but he's not polarizing. People just don't like him.
But you need somebody. You need the anti-hero.
You need the bad guy.
He's not the anti-hero, though. He's the villain.
You need the villain. You need somebody in baseball. He broadcasts everything. Momentum is his channel. He is.
Yeah, but I think dudes on his own team, it would be like if he was in the League of Doom or whatever. And they were like, we don't want him in the League of Doom. This guy's an asshole. Even the people in the League of Doom don't like him.
CJ, you're an asshole and you're still on the show.
Yeah, you should hear what Keith says about you before the show, CJ. It's not.
Keith doesn't even hear.
Did you watch the great debate last week, CJ?
No,
2 weeks ago?
No, I just assumed there was a great debate without me.
It was a great debate.
And
it was if CJ gives a place at We Like Sportz, and if you like him or if you hate him.
I clearly must have won because I got asked if I was coming
It was
on
the
today.
greatest debate.
It was the master of debate.
I just don't you know what I mean? I felt like if he was likable, he'd be on a team. Roberto Ozuna was on a team, right? After all the shit he did. The Blue Jays brought him back, and then the Astros traded for him.
Now, I guess the argument comes up, CJ. If Trevor Bauer was in the league, what kind of pitcher do you think he would be? Do you think he could win 15 games?
I'm not saying he's not good enough.
Right. Okay.
I think he's so much of a people. I don't think dudes in the clubhouse want cameras around him. But
yeah, I can understand that, but you're also living in 2024.
I feel like people don't want the Dodgers. I feel like the Dodgers don't want what comes with having Trevor Bauer. Right? Not necessarily. I think it's less of the outside noise because he was innocent and all that. And it was clearly a rig job. But I think it's more of the other nonsense that comes with him. Right? It's the drone stuff, right? Fucking dudes in the World Series playing with drones and slices. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's the head caseness that comes with Bauer. Right, the Reds didn't want to bring him back. We moved on. The guy was.
But if he was a 20-game winner, I don't think anybody would say, "Hey, we don't." They would still take him. I don't know.
If you had to put, how many pitchers would you take over him right now? Is he a top 20 pitcher?
No.
You don't think he's a top 20 pitcher?
I don't. He hasn't pitched in the major leagues in how long?
He was dominant in Japan.
I don't know.
But
I don't know. When he left, he was dominating, and I know it's 2 years ago, but look at Scott Kazmir was able to come back and pitch at a high level.
That's true.
The thing that is problematic, and I feel bad for Trevor Bauer, is the fact that he was on Theo Von, the comedian's podcast, and Theo Von kind of mentioned it to him, and he made a joke about it. But he ended up referencing the fact, he goes, honestly, the way that you study and that the way that you try to be perfect at everything, that you beat yourself up at your ability, at your playing, he goes, it sounds like you got a hint of the tism, brother. And he goes, don't get me wrong, I do too. But Trevor Bauer has modeled his career so much of the fact that he wants to be like Tim Lincecum, Tim Lincecum,
but he's not Tim Lincecum though.
Shut up.
Tim Lincecum's not a psycho.
Tim Lincecum is a 2-time Cy Young Award winner, and CJ should look at the banner because nobody else is noticing it right now. But he's
I was thinking about. I was gonna say something, but I didn't want to get him going.
He's a 2-time Cy Young winner, and he's trying to get to the point of being a 2-time Cy Young Award winner, and he's unfairly able to not get there because MLB doesn't want him there.
I apologize.
I give him a shot.
People don't want him around. That's why. That's why he's not going to get that. He's not likable. People don't want him around. I know I'm unmuted.
You keep coming back. We take you.
I know. CJ in Cleveland smells. He's just, if he was going to be like, if somebody wanted him, he'd be wanted. The dude said he's willing to pitch for the league minimum, for God's sakes, right? He's not out here trying to get that Blake Snell money, but people don't.
$62 million, 2 years. Yeah.
He's not asking for 15, 20 million, 10 million, right? Guys just don't want. They don't think people want him around. I don't think he's ever going to pitch in the majors again.
Fair enough.
It's unfortunate though,
because he's not Tim Lincecum. He's kind of weird. And I was thinking about some of the other guys when Peyton was going off on his little mini rant. Think about like the guys he was like friends with when he was here.
Clevenger
and Plesac, right? And both of them, right? Because they're not likable guys. You got to be like, I just look at how like. But
Clevenger isn't with a team either.
No, and even Plesac's in the minors again.
Well, it makes me sad. It makes me sad, but we are getting to that point in the show where we got to say bye to ourselves because we're having a fun time. That's the one thing about you know what? If you're ever just chilling and you see the show, join us. As you can see the camaraderie that we have, we like to have fun. It's like sitting at a bar and having fun. And this was one of the greatest shows, and because we did that. And but it's time, like just like at a bar, 2 a.m. It's closing time.
At the end of the day, it's closing time.
It's closing time.
At the end of the day, we the ones and CJ the twos, and I am the final boss of the We Like Sportz Show.
The final boss. Well,
it's Joe America. Joe America's the final boss.
Fair enough. But Keith, we'll go around the horn here. Keith, closing time. What do you got to say? Get your shots out. Get your plugs out. Get anything you want to say, or tell CJ to shut up. I don't care what you do.
I'm a fan of the last one.
Fair enough.
Who won the great debate?
Won the best debate.
Shout out to CJ. Happy birthday. No, it's coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Shout out to CJ.
Thank you, Keith.
It's CJ's day today. Also, CJ, I'm going to get you on All About Sports. We're going to go over the Senate preview of the baseball.
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay, cool. Probably next week sometime.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to everybody that watched. Shout out to Matt Tifft. I learned some interesting things about NASCAR because I'm not the biggest NASCAR guy at all. But hey. Shout out to Matt Tifft and great show, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you made it great again.
We all made it great, guys. It was fun. This was a great stress reliever, and I wasn't even stressed going in, but actually talking to CJ in the beginning when it
relieved his stress with the master debating.
What? It helps. Get it out. It's good for men's health, guys. We can talk about it. We're men.
And he's been working out more. Some of the energy drinks he has, they have maltodextrin in it. Took some W today, didn't have the problem. He was able to master debate. No more stress.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
None of this anymore, guys. None of this.
None of that. Hey.
But Keith, on April 22nd, I'm expecting, or the 23rd, I don't know what Ed's schedule's like, but I'm expecting a birthday shout-out as well because my birthday is April 21st.
Okay, no doubt.
And I better win the great debate twice that day.
Don't worry.
Is it on a Tuesday?
It's going to be close. It's just going to be a roundabout answer, just like CJ.
We'll make a show just so he can win on his birthday. He's obviously,
We'll have to do all Steelers debate. We'll give him Steelers topics.
CJ, what do you got? Final word, final closing times. What do you got?
I don't know. I don't got nothing really. I mean, we're finally getting past the awkward point in the year. It's nothing worse than late February and March, right? March Madness hits, sports get going again, right? March Madness is always fun. I'm looking forward to that, right? I don't have a college basketball team. This is the point where I wish I did. My
guys are playing Cornell in the NIT tonight, if you care.
Yeah, I wish I had a dog in the fight. So I hired D-Boy. I thought that was cool.
Okay.
Right, I wish I had a dog in the fight. It would always make March a little more fun.
You have a dog, though.
I do have dogs.
He's not like Michael Vick. They aren't fighting.
Oh, no, they fight. Not like Michael Vick, though, no.
Oh shit! Okay, never. All right. Well,
CJ's on the Madden cover.
Yeah,
Max,
you know.
joking. If anybody's in law enforcement or anything, he's just joking.
Hey now.
Hey now. At the end
Peyton,
of the
what
day,
you got?
he's joking. Honestly, guys, proposition to you guys. And
Oh wait, Peyton, I don't want to cut you off. Sorry, I had to do it one more time. I wasn't here for the NASCAR guy, but I thought that guy was really cool. Right, I didn't get to tell him that. I thought he was a really cool guy. You know, I'm not into NASCAR like Peyton. I'd be seeing Peyton in the NASCAR.
Dude, I want to go fast.
At the end of the day, you know,
And I
it's
answered
not
the
for
question
me.
too that you asked. I
I
had to
know.
ask.
How do you not like Days of Thunder more than Ricky Bobby?
It's not even Ricky Bobby, dumbass. It's Talladega Nights. That's the first problem.
The Ballad of what?
You know what's crazy?
Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby. It's not called
Yeah. How do you not like Ricky Bobby?
It's
I'm saying, how do you like?
Major League isn't called Cleveland Indians win the World Series.
They didn't win the World Series in Major League. They didn't even win the division. They won the pennant. They didn't even win the. They didn't even go to the World Series in Major League.
Listen, forget about the Keeper, CJ.
They lost to the White Sox in the ALCS.
It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Oh my God,
we're all winners.
There's a lot of end of days going around.
Call me Baron Corbin.
Oh man.
Yeah, Peyton, go ahead. Go ahead before CJ rudely interrupted
I'm
you.
sorry. I said.
He's not even muted, folks. But do you guys want to end up doing a bracket at all? I mean, we have until Thursday. I could end up setting something up tomorrow, possibly, just for funsies. You know, we could end up having people on.
Whoever wins, gets,
do it on the ESPN tournament challenge one because that's what
I always do. That I hate Yahoo. No offense. Yeah. I don't
whoever
like.
Wins gets a free shirt if it's a viewer.
Oh, we also have new merch coming soon. We were getting the. We have We Like Sportz joggers. If you check out Teespring, that's an idea. We're going to have a new T-shirt design, hopefully within the next week or so, updated that it's going to be the We Like Sportz splatter. And there's also another We Like Sportz. Hey now. There's also another We Like Sportz show that is with headphones and the wine and gold. We're going to probably put that in black T-shirts or gold. We'll see if it's transparent, that logo, and we'll see if it fits. But We Like Sportz Show, baby. We're going strong right now. And if you saw in the beginning the intensity between CJ and I when it just came to Guardians spring training, could you imagine when things are actually going wrong or right for the Guardians come the regular season? Because
now, if the front office only had that fire.
If only they watched money. Actually, they have. I've actually gotten a text from the Dolans.
Oh, is Matt Dolan winning his race today? No,
isn't that Paul Dolan? Oh wait, never mind. I'm getting the texts about the other Dolan.
I gotcha.
Oh, also, really fitting for us to debate today too. Maybe that's
Happy primary day in Ohio. Happy primary day.
Yeah, happy primary. Watch your sports show days today. We are the primary caretaker of the sports audience in 2024. How do you like that?
I can't. You did you go to like WWE hype school today? Because you are on it.
I honestly went to the dentist today, and I think that's part of it.
That might be it,
so to speak. And I think that's honestly what kind of set me off. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I always appreciate that kind of.
I think I'm going to end up taking a shirtless promo picture afterwards, and I'm going to make it our We Like Sportz Show logo after tonight. Check out my OnlyFans,
please.
What?
7% of the district's reporting, Bernie Moreno is leading Matt Dolan. So we might have lost out on a corner outfielder for nothing.
Fair enough.
That's disappointing. And we missed out on a corner outfielder in Chase DeWater, who once again homered again today.
Oh, geez. Well, I want to just say,
when they over under 75,
79.5, I think, is their over under. Actually,
76. 76 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what the updated odds are.
I'm going to set the line at 76 and a half.
I'm going to say 79.
I'm going to say 69.
Hey now.
What was those Chicks podcast, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Yvette, Lana, and Lysandra, the squad pod on Bougie Sports. Love you, gals. And yeah, you know what? Shout out.
There's some good pasta over the weekend.
Yeah, so you saw Yvette's post, did you?
I did too.
Hey now.
What kind of pasta was that?
It was the yummy kind, I think.
That just doesn't help my over and under odds, but the odds for the Guardians to win the World Series, they're number 20 in MLB.
What's their win-loss odds?
That's what I looked up.
You're so stupid.
Well, we'll get a stat guy sometime.
He's got some type of tism too.
I never admitted that.
Peyton plays guitar. He's acoustic.
My only thing I got to say is that I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We had a fast show. With
wait! I found it, Ed.
Okay.
Sorry for interrupting you.
That's all right. You're like CJ. CJ's contagious. It's okay.
Yeah, he's like COVID-19. You know what's funny? The Guardians aren't even on here. Wait, hold on.
All that for that.
What are we looking at? Are we looking at FanDuel? Are we looking at
whatever?
GM? We're gonna look at FanDuel.
Well, I think one of them, like I said, was 78.5, but I don't know which one that was.
I thought it was 76.5.
77.5, according to.
Oh, it went down.
Well, 77.5 for. I keep on looking for the Indians. Which one is this?
Can't even read.
Hard Rock.
Oh, okay. Well,
FanDuel 79.
Oh, okay, so they are different then. Okay.
The Dodgers 103.5 across the board. The Braves 101.
Wow. What are the Yankees? What do you got for the Yankees
here?
Yankees are 96.5, I think.
Wow.
That's my guess.
I just exited it out by the time.
Well, that's good. Well, Well, CJ said
like my one-time workmate, told me today. He said
Yankees are 96, 94.5. One of the two.
He said, Keith, if he told me the same thing I've been saying all along, Boone should have been fired a couple years ago. But if they don't go nowhere, the Yankees and the Browns are on the clock this year.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why they got like.
If Boone would have gotten fired by the Yankees last year, he'd be my number one choice.
Maybe a great debate question coming up shortly in the coming weeks between the Yankees and Browns. So I'm glad you said that.
Okay. Yep, and then Tito will be managing the Dark Empire next year.
Tito's not managing the Evil Empire.
I don't know what to say with you Yahoos today. You guys are off the hook. I appreciate you guys like always. I mean, this was a great show.
This is my OnlyFans picture, guys. You want to pay?
Well, we like sports and we like you, and we are glad you tuned in. We'll be back next week, and I can't say we'll be as crazy as we are today, but we might even be crazier.
I was sick last week, so I had to make up for lost time.
You lost something. Lost your damn minds, and we love it. So,
hold on, I got to throw up my ED.
All right, ED.